What's up, guys, and welcome to the Train Primer, where we talk about Train. Now I'm gonna be upfront and say that Train is probably my worst map in calling and playing in enjoyment of the video game, but nevertheless, I've had to learn Train, so let's show you some stuff. Now, contrary to popular belief, you do actually need map control on this map. Particularly, Ivy is something you're gonna have to work towards. Ladder is something you're gonna have to work towards. To some extent, brown halls, which is this area here. Some people might call it box halls or something else. You do technically need to get map control for this part of the map, but it's usually pretty free, and CTs just give it to you without contesting too much, but we'll get into that later. So let's talk about IV control first, and especially in lower level pugs, IV control is super neglected and makes Train feel like a really bad map for Ts. But IV control is probably like the reason why it's so bad, because you try to just like flood out TCon, for example, and then you get shut down because everyone is looking right here or in ladder, and it just doesn't work. So let's talk about IV control first. Now I'm using a very old MIB yard default for what I'm about to show you, but there's a lot of ways to play Ivy, and this is what I used to use in one of my teams from way back when. So the first spawn out of Ivy, or going towards Ivy, would basically throw a molly right there and prevent any aggressive CT pushes, right? Because one of the things you're scared about on the T side is Ivy pushes, so getting this molly down means they can't push through it, meaning you can kind of sit there and wait to see that they're actually not pushing and proceed from there. So while you're waiting for that molly to kind of fizzle, you can set up a flash for someone to peek into Ivy. You're gonna notice along this brick wall here, you have these metal vertical lines, and you're gonna stand in the back one. Now you're gonna aim somewhere center of the sign up until you're in the blue border right there, and left click throw. It's really general, but that's the easiest benchmark I have for you. Anyone that's still trying to like wait for the molly to come out is gonna get blinded. And a lot of angles around here are also going to get blinded. It might not catch this particular angle, but you do have the option to switch up the height of your peak, whether it's here or it's here. Or maybe even something like this could work too. You could do this solo. Technically, it's a little more difficult. And also just not having someone closer up means your flash is less effective, but either way, you want to try to push any AWPers that are holding this initial line of sight right here, and get into this side of Ivy at the very least. You might want to wait out their CT smokes, util, etc, etc. But once you want to start coming down into the lane here, you can stand in this corner here. You're going to look for this little marking right here. You're going to aim at that, and you're going to run forward a bunch and throw. And it's going to smoke the left side of Ivy. Maybe aim a little more to the left, or to the right. Aim a little more to the right, and you should be fine. And what this will do is, like I said, you're gonna smoke left side of Ivy. From the same position, you're still safe behind the server box, and you can just throw a molly for the right side, just lob it there. Now you should be able to walk up and start pressuring Ivy. You can clear your close corner on the left here. And then from there, you can hold a crossfire like this and like this, kind of like top mid on Inferno, right? You kind of hold a crossfire, and if you want to commit, you can have one of your people throw another smoke that's probably less bad, you know, and start swinging out this way while you have people coming out TCon or coming out ladder or whatever it is. Alternatively, you can throw your smokes and then just start walking back, maybe throw like a really late flash and start working towards, say, inner or towards TCon, whatever it is. But that's a really basic way to get Ivy control. This is all technically 2 nade sets. It could be 1 if you want to neglect the initial Molotov that comes out right around here. This is really more of a safety thing than it is a necessary thing, because it's not often that CTs will push Ivy, but it will happen every so often. Now, if you're alone, what you can do is play the dumpster here and just listen if you really like want to get info on the hell area here, or the old hell area there, you can just come straight into this corner and start listening for footsteps. It should be audible, if I'm not mistaken, but you may need to like really focus and hone in on like the footsteps, because there's gonna be a lot of comms and firing and nades going off, so you might really need to focus. Only problem is if they push you, you're kind of screwed right here. Like, you don't have any way to get out of here. You have to fight your way. Now, one really safe and neat off angle that's becoming a lot more common nowadays is this this hitch angle here. You're basically standing on this little thing there. And back when this was less popular, this used to be a really broken spot. And especially with the Krieg, before it got nerfed, this was an insane spot because you could just come here. If they pushed Ivy, you just like easily tap them and just get a free kill. Obviously the Krieg is nerfed and this is a much more common spot, so it's not as good, but can still be relatively effective in spotting Ivy, especially if you're not intending to go there into like early into the round. So that's the basics of Ivy control. You don't really need to get too fancy with it. You can run that same setup over and over and over again, and then just force more players to be wary of the Ivy area as your team does something else, or as your team fights them. Now moving towards T-Con, there's not much to do here aside from getting an initial pick and just holding. So one initial pick that is very common, obviously, is the Z pick right here. This is very much a 50-50 fight, and you're also going to be getting Molotoved right around here. So it's a little dangerous, but it's something you can go for. It's very common, so don't be afraid to do it. If you want to hold an angle, it's a little more tough because there's a lot of verticality to this map. So someone could be walking up sandwich like a crazy man. Someone could be top 5 or top red. Someone could be top green. Someone could be back 6 on the left there. And someone could be old hell right there. So there's a lot of weird angles, and there's also this camera angle right here too. If you're not familiar with it and you're not like really like experienced in these angles, it can be a little daunting and a little tough. I for one am not experienced opping on train on T side, so this is difficult for me personally. But if you are an opper, these are the things you could be looking for. If you're a rifler, you just want to make sure no one's pushing T-Con. So you can hold an angle like this. You might be able to spot their feet a split second before they peek. You can hold it from this angle too. But you are slightly worried about any, you know, T-Con pushes that involve like a smoke there, a flash here. So just get ready for someone to push you. That's probably the biggest, or really the only thing you're worried about if you're just holding a passive default. Now, if you want to put a little more pressure towards the outside yard area, or outside as I call it, you can throw 2 smokes, a sandwich smoke there and an E-box smoke here. So to throw these, a sandwich smoke, you just hug this corner of the wall very generally. I aim at the center of this line of the roof right here. I've seen people aim in the middle of it. It doesn't matter that much. But you want it deep enough so that you can see the backside of blue if you were to peek and push up, right? If the smoke is right here, you don't actually get any real estate. So that's a sandwich smoke, really quick, really easy. You can throw this every round, and that's going to cut off vision from camera and to some extent Ivy, and force CTs, if they want info, to come top red or top green. Now you can pair this with an E-box smoke, and together I call these the pressure smokes. These are very defaulty, they don't necessarily mean anything, and they block a lot of vision. So to throw this, stand somewhere in the middle of the sewer right here, again not very specific. You're going to aim along this white strip right here, not the pipe, but the strip. Aim into the center of the sun, so right around there, and left click throw. This is very, I wouldn't say very, but this is relatively general, so you can just come here, boom boom, and throw it really quick. And it's going to land right there. This cuts off vision from Z. Obviously people can play behind it, but obviously they can't see. And if CTs want vision, they have to play ladder wall in the open like this. And that's about it. And I guess top 5 like I mentioned before. So these two smokes are really good at denying a lot of vision, and forces CTs either back towards their side of the map, or closer up or on top of the trains, meaning you have less to worry about. So you can come out here and check for ladder wall here. Obviously you want to flash coming out to help blind these people here. You can start creeping up, clear this, clear that. You can lurk out, you can try to get a hit going with this. You can do a lot of things with these two smokes, and it just denies a lot of vision. And you can do a lot of things with these two smokes. Now, what exactly you can do is really up to you. You can turn this into what I call in my head the 1-2 punch, which would be these two smokes, and then you pair it with a back 6 smoke and a Z smoke. And this will allow you to come out T-Con. If you haven't already come out T-Con, you can now, come out T-Con again. And assuming you have ladder control, you can start coming out ladder. Then you have basically all the bomb site to worry about. You can throw extra mollies and, extra flashes, whatever. Start coming out, take the bomb site. So you can try to molly camera. If you get the perfect height, you can just throw it over the blue train right here. One molly I like throwing is, as you come out this way, you can aim right around here, around like this little ticket booth thing, right? Yeah, it's a ticket booth, cool. Aim somewhere around there, run and jump throw. And it's gonna bounce off the slant and molly mid-bomb, which is pretty powerful. Alternatively, you can just throw a molly like that. What the heck? Throw a molly like that. And just molly something along the backside of the bomb site to make CTs like uncomfortable. Any kind of molly will be pretty good in the situation. I'll show you that back 6 smoke later on, but for now let me show you the bomb train smokes and that Z smoke. For the Z smoke, this is a really common smoke you should learn. You want to stand in between these two boxes right here, and then aim at the corner of the building there, and left click there. This is like one of the core smokes of train, so make sure you can throw this, like you can throw the stair smoke on Mirage, that I know that everyone can, right? So now I'll show you the actual bomb train smokes. This is gonna land here, here, and there, and basically create an entire wall so that the CTs can't see as you come out E-box, or come out ladder, or even T-Con and run past the E-box. Now, since this is only 3 smokes, you're gonna have to figure out a way to play around that, and especially if you don't have more smokes to cut off more angles, namely sandwich, you're gonna need to design your strategy around that, so keep that in mind when you're actually calling, assuming you're the IGL. If you're not the IGL, then tell the IGL what the hell are we doing. So to throw the right side bomb train smoke, you're gonna stand right here, left side of the box, and then you're gonna aim between these two smoke stacks, and left click throw. Now it's gonna be right side bomb. You're gonna smoke the left side of the bomb train, which is gonna be a little bit behind him. You can stand right here. There should be enough room for you, for the both of you. So you're gonna stand on that corner of this little paper thing right there, and you're gonna aim again at this corner of the building there. It's gonna bounce back and give you a good smoke. Now to throw mid bomb, or sorry, you're gonna smoke top bomb, which is right here. To throw that, you're gonna stand on the back corner of this dumpster right here, and again aim at the corner of the building. You'd really need this smoke, or you need a Molotov for right here, because the left and right side bomb train smokes will create a gap for CTs to play over. That's a little off. But I can see for people coming out ladder, people coming out over here behind red, and same thing on this side, I can see into ladder, I can start seeing into red. So you need either a smoke here, or a molly here. And that's going to prevent that peek, which is going to be critical for coming out and trying to plant. Now let me show you the back 6 smoke before I forget. You're gonna stand into this wedge right here. And then you're gonna crouch, and you're gonna aim right above this line of the brick right there. And left click throw. So when it comes to ladder, it's a little tricky to clear because you can't just drop down and try to get this kill here. Well, I mean, you could, but it's a little disadvantageous. And especially in higher level teams, or in higher level play, it's going to be a lot harder to really get that kill because they can abuse this falling that the Ts have to do. So one good thing to do is to nade into deep ladder, so it's going to land basically right there. So you can stand against this corner here, and you're going to see like this thick crack on the wall, or on the floor, and you're going to aim at the bottom of the right like branch right here. Run forward a bunch and throw. And anyone holding ladder, typically they're going to be like right here, or maybe like right here. They're going to be eating a good like 20 damage, maybe even 40 if you can like get them close to it. There is a lineup to throw another one, but I actually don't really know where that is, so you might have to figure that one out on your own. That one kind of worked, but anyway, that's one way to try to get some chip damage on ladder. Now in terms of actually getting down ladder, you're probably going to need to throw a flash. So I'll show you some basic ones really quick. There's one in this corner right here by the paint bucket. You're going to stand in this corner here, and you're going to look up and see this darker part of the ceiling meets this white paint right there. Right click, and that's going to be a pop flash. I'm putting air quotes. You can't see me air quoting right now, but it's a quote-unquote pop flash for ladder. And you can do the same thing hugging this wall here, just aiming at the center corner thing of this vent there. It's gonna give you the same effect. And I put air quotes around pop flash because the CTs can hear the pin being pulled of the flash, so they technically have the chance to dodge it if they can, if they have access to leaving ladder for a quick second and then coming back out. So to get around this, you have two options. One option is to fake the flash. So if you like for some reason have a decoy, you could do this and then get control, or like get the positioning first on this guy here. Or what you could do is intentionally throw the flash like straight down. Of course, you want to make sure no one's like holding upwards into the ladder, so you could like clear this, or like spam here, spam here, whatever, all the crazy spams that people do in pro play. But with this, right, the CT is obviously going to see it, but you know that he knows that he's going to see it. So it becomes a guessing game of, do I hold the angle or do I give it up? And depending on what you think, you can just simply, oops, you can just throw, Jesus, you can throw the flash straight down, and then what you can try to do is come in front of it as you look up, and that'll only partially blind you while full blinding the CT if he's still looking at it. Oh yeah, real quick before I forget, if you are pop flashing yourself down ladder, when you drop, you want to look up. Okay, you want to look up so you dodge the flash. So I'll do that in half speed for you. Host time scale 0.5. Look up, flash pops, readjust your mouse so you're now looking horizontal, and you can look for this pick here. Now moving into Brown Hall, you're going to usually have two people working towards this part of the map, one setting up the other, as the other setup helps the first person get towards the second front person. It'll make sense. So one good pre-flash I like doing is you're going to count these big bars right here, so not the small ones. You're going to skip these, go to the big ones, 1, 2, and stand somewhere around there. It's not too precise. So you're going to be like right around here. you're gonna aim at the top right corner of that square right there, and left click throw a flash. It's probably a rectangle, whatever. So anyone holding this common angle is probably gonna get blind. And anyone that's like playing inside this thing right here, this lower ramp here, is also probably gonna get blind. Now you want to throw this for a teammate. So your teammate's gonna be running, and he's not actually gonna clear quite yet. He's gonna throw that flash initially. This guy's gonna call for that flash. The flash is gonna pop, and then the person that's down here, or that jumped down here, he's gonna come out here and immediately throw a molly and go back to cover. This molly is gonna prevent anyone holding upper with an op, which is very dangerous. And while that molly is up, you're gonna start clearing down here. Now, of course, you could just skip the flash and go straight for the molly here. That's just a risk. That's just a risk you're gonna have to take if you want to, you know, be greedy. But you can also just call for the flash later. Oops. You can also call for the flash later and clear a lower ramp really easily. So you could try to clear this manually or by throwing a molly. Call for the flash. Jesus, why do I keep doing that? Call for the flash, it's gonna pop, and you can clear lower ramp for free. So you throw the molly, call for the flash. Get a peek down here. Now once you do clear it, just make sure no one's hiding here, no one's hiding there, or there, or there. There's not really a reason to peek upper unless you're committing, because you don't gain anything notable from clearing here. Coming out upper, there's like 500 angles you have to worry about just here, and then you have to worry about Z, which is like essentially a pixel angle. So don't peek deep upper unless you're hardworking for some reason, which, you know, could be a valid reason, but doesn't always have to be. Don't peek out upper unless you're committing or hardworking. That's my rule. Now when it comes to going lower, I mean, you just go lower, right? You throw a smoke down, everything's good. Usually that's okay. You can try to be cheeky and throw the smoke that I learned. You're gonna stand in this corner right here. You're gonna aim at the bottom right corner of this door and then down until you hit the shadow. And left click throw. I did a video about this a long time ago. Maybe you can find it. You can come here. There's gonna be a small gap. Well, maybe not a small gap. There's gonna be a gap right here. And this kind of goes both ways. You can see him, he can see you. But a lot of people will kind of like see a smoke there and just be like, oh yeah, we're good, and come out here, and then they get opt. So instead of throwing a normal smoke, what you could do, but don't necessarily need to do, is throw this throw this kind of gimmicky smoke to try to get a pick. You probably also want a smoke that lands somewhere here so you can cross and plant. To do that, I stand on top of the railing here, leave a small gap between this wall and that wall, aim just below this corner and out to the right, and then you medium throw a smoke. It's going to bounce a few times, it's eventually going to make its way down there. Now if you want to throw a Z smoke, you're going to come into this wedge right here. You're going to aim at the first cross intersection of the bars in front of you, walk forward a bunch and throw. You could also run it. It should be about the same. It's going to smoke Z, and if you have a strat that involves going deeper into the bomb site, you can do a push and try to get into Pop Dog. And I don't really remember these smokes in particular. That seems good enough. I also did a video about this, and I will link that in the video description. So you can check that out for a little more nuanced, detailed explanation. But for your basic pugs and matchmaking, this is like all you need. If you're not throwing that smoke, you can help your teammates by throwing this smoke. Maybe you want to throw it a little better, but you can throw this smoke and it'll be fine. Maybe you want to walk forward a bit. If you know you're gonna stay brown hall, you want to make sure you don't die. Make sure bomb is planted default and throw a molly. This is the default plant, and that's the most common Molotov in the world, especially on pistol. So as a T, make sure you have this Molotov, and as a CT, make sure you have the smoke for that Molotov. You can literally win rounds just by stalling out the clock to like 15 seconds or so, and then throwing them on, and then you win the round. It is that powerful, so be aware of this interaction when you play Train, and especially be aware of this interaction on pistol round. Moving on to the CT side of things, it's fairly simple once you understand what's going on. There isn't too much variance in the CT play. It's either 4-1 or 3-2. 4-1 is going to involve one on each side of Ivy, so like someone in this area here, generally speaking. Someone back 6, someone bomb chain or camera, maybe even back red. And then one guy quick rotating, so usually Z, could be boosted ticket. And he's just going to be ready to rotate B if there's a lot of noise towards B. And of course you have the one B player. I wouldn't put a hard rule on who watches what and how you want to do it, because there are also outside setups in which players will be playing in ladder. There are also setups in which you have people close E-box holding something like this, with like a guy close holding like a weird off angle here. There's a lot of different things that can happen, so I'm not going to say that you need to watch this. It's not as cut and dry, but just be wary of these two choke points. Top green is a very common angle to hold down here. You can't really get spotted from Ivy or ladder unless they do a boost, but I don't think anyone is gonna do that. People back bomb can kind of hover and pivot between this and that. If they want to play like mid bomb, they can come out here, or if they're playing back red, they can come here. There's a million ways to play outside. You can play close. I've said that a million times by now, but just kind of get a feel for playing your passive setups, because that's what's most commonly going to happen in Train, especially in matchmaking, maybe in lower level pugs and stuff like that. What is going to happen most often is just people are playing passive, not really doing too much. B player, same thing. The biggest thing he needs to be aware of is he needs to stay alive, or he needs to frag out and get like 2 or 3 kills. I generally go play back pop, so I call this train pop dog because they used to have a bop dog symbol on this train way back when. I usually just play right here and hold something like this, occasionally checking here. Right. T's very unlikely dry peek this, so I don't really care that I'm holding a static angle. But if they do come in, you're gonna get smoked out here. So if you have a molly still, you can do something like this, or like something like that. But more often than not, this should be at an advantageous angle if they come in dry, since you'll see their feet. So just get ready for that. You can also play Summit and just play retake, like something like this, although you're a little trapped right here. You could play Spool. This is very dangerous, more of a one and done spot. You could play this weird angle here against the tarp here, I guess. Or you could try playing a headshot angle right here as T's cross to the bomb train. If you're the solo B player, you kind of just need to stay alive or frag out, like I mentioned before. There's not really anything else you can do. You can go for the mind game one-way smoke right here, but that's a very big risk you're taking, since it's gonna force one person to come from A to B. It's not necessarily what you want to do. If I still have my old video up from years ago, I will also link that in the video description, because I've explained everything right there. But if not, you want to throw a smoke like this as the back of Pop Dog kind of passes your screen. As you're aiming at the bottom of the wood there, you just left click. And what this will do is allow you to creep up and behind the smoke. And if you do this right, you can come up here, stand up, and you'll see people here, and it'll be hard for them to spot you. and you can jump up once more, and then try to look over the smoke for anyone in this area here. If you've done it a few times, you can also just mind game people by coming to this corner, or you could just not be there at all, really. You could also try to play like this behind the smoke. Like this, but this is a harder shot to hit, and if people come through the smoke in front of you, you just die, so. That's the gist of it. Check out the video that I have linked, assuming it's still there. Overall, there aren't actually too many nades you need to know for Train. If you're gonna push Ivy, like, you can throw a flash like this. I mean, you can very easily throw that on the fly. Like, it's not anything special. If you're gonna molly T-Con coming out Z, you just need to throw it. Like, don't think too hard. Right, just throw it. If you don't want it to be too deep, you can bounce it off the wall right there. So just come out wide a little bit and do that. Okay, maybe not too high though. Just come out wide and do this. Am I dumb? So yeah, you can come out wide, throw it off the wall, it'll molly closer. If you're gonna molly Olaf to prevent any like crazy men, you can just throw it off this wall right here. It's really that simple. I will show you some neat flashes because I feel like the CT side of this primer is really lacking and I don't have any good content for it. If you come up to the ladder about head height, give or take, or making the top of it flat, and if you aim just like on the edge of the red train right here, this is actually a really nice flash to pop someone into T-Con. So let's maybe aim a little higher this time. Right, it is definitely gonna hit this close corner. It's really hard to react to. And it's mostly designed to catch anyone in that specific corner there. Another thing you could do, if you know you're safe, you can come into this corner here, lining up the left side of this E-box to be flat. And if you aim at the center of that little antenna right there, you can actually get nades into above ladder. And this is fun to mess with people. You can flash out of Z using this little water reservoir. Alright, just kind of throw it. That's kind of neat. You can also flash over this roof building thing. Let me actually like not hit it. I'm sure someone can find something with this, but I haven't found anything, so. If you want someone to peek upper as a CT, you can stand in the big shadow of the top of Pop Dog right here. Just aim at the top of the railing right there. Left click throw. And that flash is gonna pop. It's gonna blind a lot of people that are inside Round Hall, kind of just like chilling over here. And don't forget to smoke the bomb, especially if you know they have a molly. Yeah, just smoke it. Like, just throw it off the wall. And try to, you know, deny that Molotov, so that you can actually have a good chance to win that round. That's really it. The CT side, there's nothing special about the CT side that I can really give you on a basic level. Everything else is kind of just like playing defaults. That's about it. So anyway, thanks for watching. Like the video if you liked the video.